Hello, everyone. I call this regular town board meeting to order at 7 p.m. on August 15th, 2023. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Supervisor Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Councilwoman Freeman.
Present.
Councilman Perticone.
Here.
Councilwoman Romeo.
Here.
Councilman Weiner.
Here.
And attorney for the town.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Just if you grabbed an agenda tonight, we have a presentation from the Bonadillo Group that was left off the agenda. That will happen here in a minute after my supervisor comments. This Saturday, August 18th, we are open for business here at the Town Hall from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. We have electronic recycling at the DPW, 8 a.m. to noon. On August 23rd, our annual Senior Health Expo from 9 a.m. to noon at the Irondequoit Community Center on Ridge Road. August 25th, Back to School Bash at the Community Center. Our farmer markets continue through October, and they are receiving record numbers again this year. So stop by there, and work has begun on our permanent farmers market here behind us. So we look forward to having an opening for that, late fall. So from right now, we will move on to Bonadillo to present our audit.
Good evening, everybody. How are you? Good. All right. So I did hand out the packages to you. We did go through this, you recall, last week at the board workshop in much greater detail. So today the intent is just to go through a high-level presentation of the results of the town's audit. So turning to the first page of the packet, again, just reminding everyone that our responsibility as your audit firm is to provide an opinion on the financial statements. To make sure that they're fairly presented in all material respects, which we did. And we did provide what's called an unmodified or a clean audit opinion on the town's financial statements. We also provide a report on internal control over internal control, and we use our testing to determine how those controls are functioning, but we don't actually provide an opinion on internal control. But if there were matters of attention that were needed by the board, we would share those with you. And as we talked about last week, there was just one small matter which we raised, not a concern, not what's considered a material weakness or a significant deficiency. It was just what we call another matter for your consideration. And our audit does not relieve you of your responsibility for governance and oversight. You hire us to help you discharge that responsibility. And again, that's kind of our process. So looking at some high-level numbers, overall the town's net position is a negative 1.2 million. Now that sounds scary, and I will remind you that the government-wide net position includes all of your assets, all of your liabilities, so it includes all your long-term debt associated with bonds, associated with other post-employment obligations, which are not currently due and payable. So it's kind of a misleading presentation. And most governments that you look at would be in a negative situation as a result of that. Those OPEB obligations, which are your other post-employment benefit obligations, extend far into the future and are large numbers. So again, I only point that out so you know that that's not a concern. Revenues really stay relatively consistent. About 62% of your revenues are what we call general revenues: mortgage tax, non-property tax, and property tax. And the rest of those costs are borne through charges for services, operating grants, et cetera. So really only about 38% of your costs are covered through direct charges. The rest have to be raised through property tax and things like that. Looking at your funds, you've got about $9.1 million deficit in fund balance because of your short-term borrowings. So as you borrow short-term on bond anticipation notes, those are considered a short-term borrowing for the town. And when you convert those to long-term debt, that conversion creates revenue, creates proceeds, and that's what turns that into a positive number. So that's just the way that the financing works within a municipal organization. And you can see the rest of your fund balance there broken out between your restricted, which are reserves, and those things that you have assigned for future use. And then, the next slide just quickly talks about your governmental funds and gives you a 3-year history here, showing that your total assets are about 41.9 million, and that's all of your funds combined, both general, capital, et cetera, versus liabilities of 49, as I said. The two biggest pieces of those are the bond anticipation notes, which total about 26 million, and your unearned revenues of 18, which the bulk of which is your ARPA funds that remain to be spent, which you have plans to spend those in the future. And then on the revenues and expenditures on the next page, you can see a slight or a steady increase, I should say, from 41.5 back in 2020 up to 47.6. Some of that is related to use of the ARPA funds that you have, which obviously is not a recurring funding source for you, but is recognized as revenue. But at the same time, you've got expenses that counteract those revenues that you recognized. And then, about other financing sources are about 1.2 million. That's the interplay between using those monies to pay down your bands. And overall, you can see where we talked about before, your ending fund balance is that negative 9.1 million. And a couple quick graphs for you, really just showing what we talked about over the past 3 years, kind of where revenues were versus budget, through that cycle. And then looking at the general fund expenditures to budget as well. You can see a little bit under from that perspective, kind of an up and down throughout the course of the past 3 years. And then general fund actual revenues and expenditures as well. You can see where those have fallen over the past 2 years. Again, relatively close, revenue to expenditures, so relatively break even each year. Your revenues did go up this year, about 18% over last year, but your expenses also went up about 11%. So again, that's kind of the process there. And you can see where your fund balance is in the general fund specifically. So you do have about 6.5 million of unassigned fund balance in the general fund. All that negative I talked about is in your capital projects fund. If that makes sense, that's where all your projects are held, so that's where your funding is going to be to pay for those. So from a general fund perspective, you got 6.5 of unassigned. And then just a couple quick highlights of a few of the other major funds that you have. Your highway fund has about 1.7 in total fund balance, which was a slight decrease from last year. Revenues were down slightly, as were expenses. But again, all within what you had budgeted for and in line with what you expected. And the sewer fund has a fund balance of about 1.1 million, which was actually an increase of 13% over last year, primarily because of a significant decrease in expenses year over year, about 3%, revenue staying relatively flat. And then lastly, just a quick reminder of where we are with the American Rescue Plan funds, the ARPA funds. You did receive about 22 million over the past 2 years. You've spent you have about 16 million unspent at the end of 12/31/22, which, as you know, is earmarked for various purposes, but that's where you sit. And you've been utilizing the appropriate categories for recognition as you spent those dollars and reported accordingly to the federal government. And those filings are all on time. So any questions at all from the board?
Anyone? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, I'm going to make a correction. The open for business and the recycling are on the 26th, not this Saturday, 2 Saturdays coming up. So with that, we'll move on to public input. I do not have the list. All right, with public input, you have 3 minutes. You also, please state your name and address when you come up to the podium. Okay, for public input, first one up is Mark Holloway.
Hi, my name is Mark Haldo. I'm at 39 Schnackle Drive. I just want to talk about short-term rentals, Airbnbs. I know you guys are talking about doing some codes and things like that, but technically you already have codes. 235-8 in an R3 residential, it says no hotels, motels, or rooming houses. And in the actual occupied spaces that you say can have things done, there's absolutely nothing in there that says anything about Airbnbs, hotels, or anything like that. Also, Monroe County also collects hotel tax on Airbnbs right now. So they are considering them all as hotels. And anything under 28 days is considered a hotel. So to make new codes for something you guys already have in place just seems ridiculous to me. It's already there, it's already in place. I have one right next to me right now, and it has made my life miserable. I had 41 people come in and out of my yard in one day. I've had people trespass, park on my property. The owners don't want to do anything about it. So I'm kind of going back here on the town, because you already have, like I said, codes in place that you can stop these right now. Otherwise, I'm supposed to go to court for like $40,000 to try to stop this. And again, you already have this, in place with your, with your codes. I don't know what else to say here. But I've been a resident here for 50 years. My family's lived in the same house for over 100. And basically, if this goes through, that you're going to allow this Airbnb or Airbnbs in general, I can't put up with that, and I'm going to have to move. And it just seems ridiculous that you're going to put up, with people, investors that are taking over these properties and just not living in the town of Irondequoit at all, and let them allow to keep doing business, and the town residents are going to be the ones that are going to pay for all this. Is that time?
No, but the alarm was going off the whole time you were speaking, but it wasn't to kick you out of there. I'm not sure what that was, so apologize for that.
Like.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, you already have code on all this stuff. I don't know. We have rentals in our area. We only have 25 houses, and 12 of them are already rentals. So, I mean, there's going to be more rentals than actual homeowners in these areas, and it's not going to be a neighborhood anymore. We don't even know who's coming and going. We have strangers every 2 days. Their minimum is 2-day rental. So every 2 days we get new people come in, and those people bring new people in for parties, hangouts, whatever. And it's just very, very, it's a nuisance. And I know there's other places that have the same type of things like easements, things like that, because most of the places want to be on the water. So that's where they're all going to be. We have sent a letter from our lawyer to you guys. We've sent personal emails to you guys. Honestly, we really haven't heard back from almost anybody from here, so.
Yeah, those are all being reviewed, so we can go through them. The letter from your lawyer was quite extensive, so.
Okay, but like I said, as far as I'm concerned, you guys you've had it in there since like the 80s with no hotels, motels, rooming houses, and all that, so.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Okay, next up we have Tammy.
Hi, I'm Tammy Haldo, his wife. So again, we live at the same place, 39 Schnackle Drive, and we've personally been there for over 20 years. I apologize if anything I say is redundant. We tried to not repeat each other, but it might. I'm going to try to just read. Again, like you said, about 2 months ago, an investor bought the house right next door to us, and we've written letters to you about this, so I know you guys kind of know what we're talking about already. And I know you're in the process of writing new code for this to adapt the hotel motel and or how you're going to adjust the rental. And I kind of wondered where you were at with that. Like, another resident reached out and said that he called in a complaint almost a year ago, and he was told a year ago that you were working on code. How long? And I appreciate you doing due diligence in writing the code properly, so it doesn't come back to bite people. I just kind of wonder where we're at in that. Do I have to put up with this for another couple of months, another couple more years? Like, that's where we're at in our frustration of how long do we have to put up with people trespassing in my yard? And who do I call for that? We have tried to compromise with the woman next door. We offered to build her a brand new set of stairs from the public parking down to her place, and she refused. So we have tried to be neighborly. to be quite honest, she's not our neighbor. She's an investor. She doesn't live in Irondequoit. She doesn't really, she goes home, she sleeps at night. Meanwhile, I'm trying to sleep and my alarms keep ding, 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 dinging of people on my property, fishing. It's crazy. They're out on my dock. Like, it's a lot. And then I'm kind of wondering some things that you might want to consider. I know that you might be doing like a neighborhood study, and I just wondered what that would look like, what you would be looking for. Like, do you try to find out the traffic patterns, what it's going to do to the traffic in my neighborhood? It's a private road. I pay for the upkeep of that road, not the town. And how do you know how that's going to impact having all those short-term rentals down there? What's that going to do to my private road? The easement across the front, like he said, one day, 49 times they came in and out across from my property. And when I say an easement, it's not far away. It is 12 inches from my patio that these people are coming and going and coming and going. Again, I'm not sure how we're going to make sure that they pitch in their fair share of road maintenance down there when they're creating so much of the road traffic compared to a normal, people who have lived there before went to work, came home, maybe go to dinner, come home. The new people are just using it ad nauseum. And again, like he said, a lot of lake homes have these easements, have these private roads. We are quite worried about how much rental is going on, and to be quite honest, I feel like we're going to turn into the city, where more than 50% of this town is going to become rental. And I guess that's it. And I just wondered, personally, would you want an Airbnb next to you?
Okay, thank you, Tammy. And on the point of trespassing or criminal activity, then, please call the police department.
We've
yeah.
tried. It's 40 times a day.
Yeah,
And and not to take up more time, I apologize.
Yep.
What they're doing is usually looking at ducks, out there fishing. They're not hurting anybody, but they're still on my property doing it.
Yeah.
And it's just very inconvenient and burdensome on us.
okay, thank you, Tammy.
Yep, thank you, guys.
Okay, next up is Marcia Enright.
Yeah.
My name is Marcia Enright. I live at 75 Clay Avenue. I'm not a resident here, but my children are and my grandson is. House just went up for sale next door to my grandson, and I pray that he does not have to go through what my daughter's gone through all summer long. You have at your disposal, so will you enforce them, is the question. I want you to note code for R3 residential, section 235-8. Home occupation must be limited to incidental monetary gain and not create change to a residential neighborhood. $15,000 a month intake on the house a month next door to my daughter is not incidental income. It's income. Part C, you can't include hotel, motel, or rooming house. Well, not when this was made back in 1987 or something like that. Airbnbs, which is a trade name, it's short-term rental. They weren't even in existence back then. Had they been, I'm sure it would have been considered. Tish James is currently doing a study on this. There's a statewide 28-day or less is referred to as short-term transient rental without a front desk, without security, without lifeguards, without first food service, nor do they have to be ADA compliant. Short-term rental limits the availability of housing to local investors, at the same time making it harder for our children to move back into this area and buy a home and send their children to the same schools that they went to, as did Mark. Mark went to the same school over on Point Pleasant that his father went to and his grandfather went to. There's a plaque on the wall with their name on it. When you purchase a home in your neighborhood, you go to the stores here. You buy your plywood over to Home Depot. You might stop into a restaurant here. Those people hire locals, so it takes away from jobs also. They take away from local hotels. They don't have to hire people anymore. Short-term visitors don't do their business here at all. They don't go to the local florist. They party for a few days and they're gone. They don't care about anybody that lives here. They don't have to. They're gone in a couple days. Short-term rental has a very negative income on our neighborhoods. It has a negative income on our housing markets, our libraries, our schools, and commerce in general. As they don't come here to conduct their daily business at the bank, it changes the entire fabric of these neighborhoods. Will you allow these investors to continue to get rich while our general public and neighbors leave us? If that's what you want, I guess that's what's going to happen, but you're going to become the city, is what's going to happen. You're going to become the inner city. And I have attached a few things on the back that I have picked up off the internet that have been written about short-term rentals. And also, I have attached something about the LLCs that are buying them. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. We appreciate your time. Okay, next up, Larry DiMaggio.
Good evening. My name is Larry DiMaggio. I
DiMaggio,
reside at 34 Delta Terrace. Before I address this evening's topic, I provided the clerk with reminders to each one of you of the upcoming free live stream of Election Crime Bureau Summit scheduled for tomorrow and Thursday. I thought more about the reasons why you individually and collectively as a board appear to have ignored or rejected all the evidence of election interference that I presented to you over the past several months, and I've come to the following conclusion. One of those reasons is that you all suffer from a condition that we all have inherited called spiritual blindness. The title of this presentation is Spiritual Blindness Part 1. Consider what God revealed to Israel through the prophet Isaiah 2,500 years ago. Does it apply to America today? Do the following words apply to our nation? A sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backward. Why should you be stricken any more? You will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick, and the whole heart faint. From the sole of the foot even unto the head there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores. They have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment. Your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire, Maui. Your land strangers devour it in your presence, and it is desolate, as overthrown by strangers, illegals. Except the Lord of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah. Hear the word of the Lord, you rulers of Sodom. Give ear unto the law of our God, you people of Gomorrah. Come now and let us reason together, says the Lord. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool. If you be willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. But if you refuse and rebel, you shall be devoured with the sword, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken it. God in his word is telling all of us today, consider your ways if you want your nation to survive. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Next up, we have Sasha Strickland. Sasha here today? Okay. Lisa DeLuise?
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
I'm Lisa DeLuise, and I live at 63 Spring Valley Drive. I came tonight to say some words about the bow hunt code before realizing that there was actually something on the agenda tonight regarding the bow hunt code, but I'd like to go forward with what I plan to speak with anyway. So nearly a year ago, around late September, there was a group of citizens, residents, that requested what I consider reasonable changes to the town code, Code 93, which is the bow hunt program. The code was established about 5 years ago, and it hasn't been, revised since, as you know, except for one thing that I do know. The language was changed to for a single hunter on a tiny piece of land to make his property come into compliance with some rules. And even that language was changed, that piece of property still doesn't meet the requirements technically, but that goes ignored. So in our lengthy request, some of you may remember, I'm going to highlight some of the top priorities that the residents had. First was establishing a code of conduct for the hunters. I do not know at this point whether there is one, whether it will be distributed to hunters, whether it be made, publicly available on the website. I certainly hope that that's the case. Second, we were requesting that hunters and the lots that are approved in the program year over year not be grandfathered in. It seems like very reasonable that the lots should be reassessed we were proposing 3 years to see whether, are deer being killed on that property? Are there any complaints from local residents regarding that specific piece of land? How many times deer need to be tracked off that land? I mean, these are just reasonable things one could consider to assess whether that property should be continued in the program or not. And regarding hunters, there are many hunters that want to come in the program, and I know for a fact, I've looked at the records, there are some properties where that are never hunted on, and perhaps there are hunters that are in the program that don't hunt. So it'd be nice to know whether, those that are approved, should they be continued or not. Others would like to join. 3 years test for their proficiency. I know to get in the program, you got to be proficient. People age, their skills may decline, so why not have a continuing proficiency test? And also, if residents have complaints about said hunters, maybe that might be something to consider as far as year to year, letting them in the program. The last, I hear the bell, tree stands. I know we've stood here before and debated whether tree stands should be taken up or down. Certainly, I think tree stands, I think you would agree with me that they should be blocked from public view. They should be hidden. How would you like to wake up every morning and look at a tree stand? So if a tree stand is erected on private land, that the owner lives at, and if it's out of view, fine. But if, citizens complain about an eyesore, there should be some legislation around that. And I know that there are eyesore statutes in place regarding vehicles. If you live at the property and you could park your commercial vehicle there, but you can't park a commercial vehicle on a piece of property that you own, but you don't live there. There's a similar sort of rule should be written around that. Lastly, there's a request from my residents that would like to know, how do we learn, when the board is going to vote on some changes? Like, honestly, maybe I don't know when the minutes get published, but I didn't look tonight, so I'm pleased to see that there is something on the agenda tonight. But is there any ways to get written documents regarding, requests for board changes?
Okay, thank you, Lisa. We do have a resolution tonight. We have had a public hearing, which you spoke at, so I'm confused, but okay. We have Lynn and Amy, but I believe you spoke about dogs, and we have a public hearing. Are you looking to speak at the public hearing, or is it something not related to the public hearing? Is Amy? Okay, so we'll add you to the public hearing. That's what you want to speak at, right? Okay, so our last two speakers will speak in a couple minutes here. We will try to get through our financial report before public hearings.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The financial results for the town as of July 31st. The total expenses, actual as well as encumbered, are $24,389,000, or 56.1% of budget, which is slightly below the 58.3% of the year that has elapsed. The breakdown is $20,488,000 for actual expenses and $3,901,000 for encumbrances. Encumbrances are 9% as departments are continuing to commit to services and supplies for the remainder of the year. General fund expenses are favorable to budget at 55%, or $15,121,000. The split here is actual expenditures, $13,659,000, and encumbered expenses, $1,462,000. Contained within the general fund encumbrances are general townwide street lighting, attorney fees, EMS contracts, cemetery columbarium construction, and other contracted expenses throughout the town. Jointly, the highway fund's expenses are greater than the percent of the year that has elapsed at 68.5%, or $4,489,000. Actual expenses within the highway funds are 38.6% of budget, or $2,528,000, and encumbrances account for the remaining 29.9%, or $1,961,000. These costs are typically driven by salt, fuel, roadwork and paving services, and materials such as oil and stoning, as well as equipment parts. Expenditures in the library fund are 57.3% of budget at $1,601,000. Included in this amount is a bond payment of $483,000 for principal and interest for the consolidated library. Sewer fund expenses of $2,065,000 equate to 47% of budget. Expenses in the stormwater drainage total $392,000, or 41.7% of budget. We are underscoring again that the expenses excluding encumbrances for the town, as well as the three major funds, are less than the percent of the year that has elapsed. 58.3% of the year has elapsed, and the actual expenditures percentage exclusive of encumbrances for the town is 47.1%. The general fund is 49.7%. Sewer fund is 41.9%. And the collective highway funds are at 38.6%. Revenue received in the general fund is $18,556,000, or 70% of budget. Real estate taxes are $12,007,000. Payments in lieu of taxes of $251,000, or 97.7% of budget, have been accounted for. 2 months of sales tax of $1,271,000 have been recorded. Second quarter receipts are anticipated in August. Other sources of revenue are at 59.7% and include $241,000 in safety inspection fees. Other major revenue items are expected later in the year include franchise fees and aid and incentives for municipalities. Regarding the entire town, $31,624,000, or 74.7% of revenue and appropriated fund balance have been received to date. Approximately $18,260,000 is real estate tax. At the end of July, the library has received $2,759,000, or 98.7% of its budgeted revenue. 67.2%, or $4,385,000, has been received in the collective highway funds. Sewer has received revenue of $4,245,000, or 97.3% of that fund's budget. The stormwater drainage has recognized $882,000, or 99.4% of budgeted revenue. In addition, American Rescue funds of $22,455,000 have been received. Roughly $7,156,000, or 31.8%, have been expended to date on various projects, including the McAvoy Turf and other various playground retrofits, the Columbarium construction, sewer and drainage improvements, and IT projects and equipment. This concludes the financial report for the month of July 2023.
Thank you, Madam Comptroller. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Well done, Madam Comptroller, and thank you to your whole department for the time that you spend with the Bonadio Group, too. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, I'll take a motion to accept.
Moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Okay, this financial report has been accepted. Madam Clerk, it is now 7:35. Please call the first public hearing.
All right. Public hearing number 1 on the matter of amending Town Code Section 79 of the Town of Irondequoit relating to certain domestic animals.
Okay, motion to open the public hearing.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, this hearing is now open. And is this Mary or Chief? Mary? Chief? Chief, sorry. You want to just give a background of the explanation?
Yes, sir. So this was arose because of persistent. Our code hasn't been changed in quite some time. The code is really kind of vague as far as time limits and the amount that a dog might become a nuisance. And basically, this was just an attempt to try and quantify it and kind of give us something more substantial to be able to help out our residents. And, you know, obviously have something that we can hopefully cite an owner that is not who really isn't a good steward to the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. We have several people signed up today, so we will call the first person, and same as public input, please state your name and address for the record when you are called. So we have Anthony DeSalvo.
Howdy, how's it going? My name's Anthony DeSalvo. I live at 102 Covington Road in the Parkside neighborhood. I have 2 dogs. We've lived at our neighborhood for about 20 years. I got wind of this meeting in at our unofficial Facebook page here in Irondequoit, and I did some research, and I wanted to kind of see what other towns were doing. And it seems like this legislation that's up for review or that you guys are voting on deviates way off base from what all of our neighboring towns do, right? Webster, Penfield, Brighton, they're all vague, but they don't have the specificity that we do. So I guess really my question is, what makes Irondequoit so special that we have to have this legislation when the other towns really don't need it? So I'm not a big fan of reinventing the wheel. So like if the other towns are using it and it's working, I guess my input is why change it if it's working for the other towns? Yeah, I think that's just it. Thanks.
Thank you, Anthony. Okay, next up, having Jackie. Is it? Julie. Julie, I'm sorry. Having.
Hi, Julie DeRizio, 311 Ransford Ave. I want to talk about cats. It was kind of attached on the end here, and hardly anybody noticed it. And the actual proposal to the proposed change to the law is to strike out provisions allowing and requiring the animal control officer to trap and destroy cats that are accused of having damaged neighbors' property. And these are quite often cats who are, oops, this is not the sheet I need. It's about cats that what it says is that if you feed the cat, then it's your cat and you're responsible for its misbehavior. And this was written like a generation ago when trap, neuter, vaccinate and release was not a thing. But now it is a thing. And we realize now that these cats that were causing a problem were probably into mating behavior. And what they really needed was to be neutered. And now there's a whole community of people who are doing their darndest in the face of vet shortages to get this job done. And if they get neutered, they get released back where they were, they don't reproduce. And the colonies become smaller and smaller by attrition. And it just works so much better than removing animals and letting new ones move in and reproduce again. So, I'm in favor of the deletions that are proposed, but I would like to get a lot better than that. And I know we can't do it tonight, but look, nobody wants more homeless cats having kittens in their yard. And most of us would prefer to have all the cats kept indoors. But this isn't going to happen in our lifetime because there's too many cats and not enough homes. And those cats that have not been socialized, they don't want to live in the house anyway. So I just found today, this afternoon, a new law that has been added to the existing cat law in the village of Rockport. And it's entitled Community Cat Program. And it would be a tremendous, tremendous benefit here in that it would be trapper friendly and feral cat friendly, and it would just do a better job of solving the problem than anything that we've been doing. And I have printed out some copies for you, if I may.
Yeah, sure.
And that's all I have. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Julie. Thank you.
Thank you for your due diligence.
Okay, next up we have Lynn Pertula.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Lynn Prytula, and I reside at 785 Melville Street. I've been a resident there 41 years. I bought my house when I was 22 years old. I've been also a dog owner for the last 40 years. And looking at the regulations that you're imposing or the new codes, I think are a little bit too restrictive. I have a problem with shortening the waiting time before an animal that's been seized has been either destroyed or has been put up for adoption. I mean, sometimes medical emergencies happen and the family's more concerned about helping their loved one than they're not necessarily thinking about the animal. So sometimes they get overlooked. So I think that, shortening it from 5 days to 2 days, frankly, is a little bit draconian, frankly. I also am really concerned with the time limits on the barking, okay? I was amused at reading the code that it, causes any one person, would disturb their comfort or repose. Well, the fireworks that go on from 10 to 8 in the morning with residents, disturb me. Nothing is done about that. And during the day, the neighbors' kids screech for longer than what you're proposing. They're disturbing my comfort and repose. So I really do think that I can understand quantifying it, but this has gone over the top as far as the restrictions. It also having an incident of shorter duration for 5 times over 10 days. Really? You know, I mean, what is short duration? 1 bark? I also feel that, you know, some of the things that happen, and our next speaker is a neighbor of mine on the other street, and she basically was attacked by a dog that had gotten out, who tends to be, how should we say, aggressive to other dogs when she was walking her dog. I saw the whole incident from my front porch. We called the police and no one ever came. So I think also, too, it's one of the things about enforcing what we have, but I think your time restrictions, I can understand putting some sort of limit or quantifying it, but these are way too short time frames. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have Amy Vogel.
Hello, I'm Amy Vogel, and I live at 41 Clarington Street. I have lived at that address all my life, so I'm not going to say how many years. And I am a first-time dog owner. He's 2.5, and as Lynn mentioned, I was walking my dog on leash, and this dog came out, went after us. We got away. We were fine. Called 911. I didn't really expect the police to respond, but I also called animal control and left a message. And 2 weeks later, I'm still waiting for a response. So if you're going to be putting these regulations in for both dog owners and people who are disturbed by dogs, which I get, we need to be able to ensure there's enough staffing to support them. I also have a question that I'm just going to throw out there. One of the new code says it shall constitute a violation of this section if the howling or barking occurs continually and is audible beyond the property line on the premises. Does that mean if the dog's bark travels past my yard? Is that what that's saying? Because I need somebody to tell me how to fix that. I need somebody to tell me how do I keep that sound in my yard. I am thrilled, though, that it's going to take more than one person complaining, because some of us have that neighbor who will always call. And I am pleased with some of the changes, but there are a couple that just made me scratch my head and made my dog scratch his head. So, again, just keep the staffing available. I know animal control is just one person. I feel sorry for the guy. So, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. So Scott is here. If anybody, you want to come up, Scott, and can I ask Scott some questions here? Anthony, I'll kind of comment on yours. From our separation from our town, I meet with supervisors on a monthly basis. Our dog issues in this town are 1,000 times what they are in other towns, from strays to drop-offs to other issues. So I think we are much different than what I'm hearing from other towns. So maybe that sheds some light on that. I deal with dogs way more than I ever thought I would with this position. So, all right. So Scott, from the board, there's,
I didn't realize I had to sign up.
oh, I'm sorry. All right. Well, come on up and give your name and address. I apologize. Is there anybody, before I let Scott, after the speaker, is there anybody else? Okay, thank you.
My name's Debbie Raimondo. I reside at 309 Mallard Drive. I not only own a dog, but I do rescue dogs, and I have several concerns about these proposed changes. One, I don't believe that any dog should be destroyed. There are plenty of rescue groups in the community that will take dogs, rehome them, find out if there's problems with a dog. No dog should be arbitrarily destroyed. So I think that should be stricken from the entire code, period. We don't have the right to decide that the dog is seriously a problematic dog that should be destroyed, that cannot be resolved with training issues or proper care. Secondly, several years ago, I had some people, to this day I have no idea who they were, who decided to keep leaving nasty letters in my mailbox stating that my dog was barking incessantly in the middle of the night. My dog sleeps in my bed. He never barked at night. He would have woken me up if he had. They continued this behavior, and to the point where they climbed my stairs at one point and pounded on my door and rang my doorbell at 3 o'clock in the morning, demanding that my dog was barking, which now that somebody was banging on the door and ringing the doorbell, he was. They filed a complaint against me. People need to be more realistic about dogs. We put up with people's children, with people's loud music. We need to be more realistic. The other thing is I have 50 stairs in the front of my property. By the time the Amazon driver pulls up, gets out, gets the package, comes up the 50 stairs, drops the package, takes the picture, goes back down, it can easily take 10 minutes, and my dog will bark while he's on my property. I expect him to. He's a good watchdog.
Okay, thank you. Scott? So I think one of the concerns is the destroying of dogs. Can you just explain that? I mean, we don't destroy dogs like.
Yeah, no,
So-
everybody hear me? Yeah. We don't make that determination. I've never destroyed a dog. The only time that that's happened is if there was a court proceeding and it was an issue that the court decided. But I personally don't make that decision. We do as much as we can to working with Lollipop and working with rescues to find homes for as many dogs as we can. That's where I'm at. I want to find a home. That's the ultimate goal.
So, yeah, I mean, I think we have a great town for staff for dogs. I mean, we house many dogs here. We have people stop by, walk them. We have police officers take them out night after night. So I think we do a pretty good job with our dogs. So does any board members have additional questions that were raised by residents?
Yeah, Scott, just tell us the process. Like, right now you have a dog there, right? Someone will call you, there'll be a stray running around, right? You'll go,
Yep.
obviously get it.
Yeah, what'll happen?
And, we talk about this, I think 9 times out of 10, if you don't hear from the owner, it's a dog that's been just dropped off, I believe, you know what I mean? Because if my dog's loose, I'm on the phone, I'm looking for it ASAP, right? So, yeah, just tell us the process now when you find a stray dog out there, what you do.
Yep. What happens is we will get a call either from police or from a resident saying they found a dog. We'll go and pick it up. If the dog has identification on it, we will go and make any attempt to contact the owner and get the dog back home. If the dog does not have any identification, we will house it here. Right now we hold them for the 5 days. In the 18 years that I've been here, if within 2 days nobody's called, not to say that not, and I know someone had mentioned something about if a medical issue or something comes up. I do get phone calls from people, and if I'm willing to work with them, obviously if you have a family member has a medical issue, take care of that first. Your dog will be here. We're not going to do anything with it. I'm not going to give it away. So we will hold on to it. And then after that process, they will go up for adoption either through Lollipop, or if we can find a rescue, we will work with them and find it a home. The New York state law is that a holding is a 24-hour period. So if a dog is picked up today is not day one. Tomorrow starts day one. So technically, if we're holding it for 5 days, we would be holding it for 6. And if we were holding it for 3, which is what we're proposing to do, we would still have it for 4. Which, as I say, I think that gives people enough time. And as John had mentioned, if I feel the same way. If my dog was missing, I'd be on the phone with anybody calling and crazy, and most people do. So yeah, within the 3 days, if no one's come forward, probably not going to happen.
When that dog's in our possession, all costs are on the town, correct? So we've had closings of kennels, we've had closings of emergency hospitals. So the emergency is now in Buffalo.
The closest emergency hospital is in Buffalo. Thankfully, we haven't had that issue, but if something were to come up in the middle of the night, it's a long haul. And
we're $1,000 in before we even treat the dog.
If they would even take us, I don't know. That's a whole nother process that we're working through.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
Yes, I do have a question for Scott. Scott, one of our speakers presented us with a program which is called the community cat program from Brockport. One of the first things it talks about in implementation is trap, neuter, vaccinate, and then return. Is that something that's plausible that we should look in and amend the motion we have now to include?
Yeah,
based on our space and our resources.
Yeah, right now, our resources for cats are almost nothing. I don't know with that program if that would be something that the town would pay for to do, or if that goes with, like a rescue or someone would step in. So I don't know how that works. I have worked with people over the years that do spay, neuter, and release, and as it was said, that you do, once they do it, the colony stays, and then that helps to reduce the population. But yeah, that would be something, I don't know, we'd have to look into to see how, if we would be responsible for that, or how that would go.
Okay. So the supervisors did make a proposal to Monroe County and Monroe County invited the proposal to have kind of a countywide animal program supported by towns and supported by working together. That was denied by the county. And, I'm currently in conversations with other towns to share responsibilities and to try to assist to make sure that we're handling the animals the best way possible. And, we do have kennels now, which many towns don't. So I was disappointed that the thing with the county didn't work out or wasn't listened to, but, we're doing the best as far as staffing goes with Scott, and he's doing the best he can. So anyone else for Scott? All right, thank you, Scott.
Oh, I just want to add
Yep,
one
sorry.
more
Go
comment,
right
Mr.
ahead.
Supervisor.
Yep.
I want folks to know that truly the spirit of the law here, the spirit of the code, is not to euthanize a dog, not to take a dog away from somebody. It's to try to preserve and protect them. And as you said, we built new kennels. We invested in that. You're doing everything you can to work with the family. We're really trying to help people and help the dogs. But we also are in a community where, if you think about Durand-Eastman Park, we do get a lot of animals dropped off. So there is a great cost and an expense and a personal expense to all of that. As Councilwoman Freeman mentioned, this CAP program, perhaps that's something we can look into maybe in 2024. See how Brockport's doing, see who's paying for it. Are there partners out there? Is there another local municipality that we could partner with in the future? But thank you for all that you are doing. I see you out here walking the dogs in the parking lot all the time, so thank you.
I try.
Yeah, we do have, like I said, we do have a great staff. We've taken them home. I've had dogs at my house. We had a police officer tame an abused pit bull, I guess I'd say. She made it. She got it to where it didn't, could walk on a normal leash, and so we have a very caring staff here, and I think we go above and beyond with our animals here. And
Yeah, it went from a dog that nobody could touch. She was able to work with her over 5 or 6 days, and she became very friendly, and she was able to, she went out to Lollipop, and I believe she was adopted, so.
Perfect. All right, thank you.
It's the ultimate goal.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we'll take a motion to close the public hearing. What's that?
About whether the town would be responsible for coming up with money to trap, neuter, and release. It's no. The law in Brockport is simply written in such a way as to, instead of threatening people who are feeding the cats in order to trap them with fines for that, it's made trapper friendly so that you can go ahead and do that, and that person can be allowed to feed the cat without fines, and then the volunteers, the residents, and the rescue groups would be doing the work and paying for the vet work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
It's nothing that couldn't be done like right now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, motion to close the public hearing.
Moved.
Can I get a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay, this hearing is now closed. We're going to vote on this tonight. Okay. We will, Madam Clerk, could we now move on to public hearing from board action item PH1? Thank.
We're now.
We're voting, yeah.
We're voting.
Yep.
This is Resolution 1, amending Town Code Section 79 of the Town of Irondequoit relating to certain domestic animals.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, would anybody else like to speak on this before we vote? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay.
Nay, I've listened to what the public have said, and those were issues that I have, that we are being unrealistic with some of the requirements that we have.
Thank you very much. This resolution has been adopted. We will now move on to the next public hearing.
Public hearing number 1 from July. Public hearing was left open on the matter of granting a special use permit for 4348 Culver Road in the C Business District.
Okay, we have a motion to open the public hearing.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, this hearing is now open. We have no one signed up. Sal, if you'd like to speak.
Thank you.
Sal is representing
Yes.
Blue Palm.
Sal Lee Chardello, attorney for Blue Palm Grill. Last month's meeting, I went in depth. We went through all of the special use permit factors, so I'm not going to, rehash and go through all those again unless this board feels like any more discussion on a particular factor is warranted. I'm happy to go into detail on that. I do have some updates on, progress we've made. So at the last meeting, I had a one-sentence handwritten permission from Parkside Diner for Blue Palm to park cars. We now have a formal parking agreement that I drafted in collaboration with the planning board attorney, and so it's a license for Blue Palm to use Parkside Diner's parking lot, and I did submit that to the town. And I do have a copy of it with me here today if this board would like to review that. In addition, on August 7th, we went to the Zoning Board of Appeals and we received an area variance which allows Blue Palm to provide the seating that they desire with the on-site parking that's there now. So I believe the parking has been addressed adequately as it relates to any impacts on the community, and I'm happy to describe what we have there right now if any of these board members are still worried about parking, but especially now with that agreement with Parkside, we really do have enough there. Supervisor Fitzpatrick, you had asked about the Department of Health and whether that was compatible with this application. And the day after last month's meeting, I submitted a copy of that to the town, and it is not limited to any particular number of patrons. Based upon my review, I believe that it is compatible with the use that the Blue Palm is proposing. There was a member of the public that spoke out. He was a neighbor on Mary Knoll Park. He raised several issues. I think the primary one was parking. And, one of the issues he raised was a really good point. The residents there, they rely on right-of-way parking. And, the residents can't they can't go out and put cones out in the right-of-way to stop patrons from parking there. So we're really trying to take every feasible step to mitigate against other, our patrons parking in the neighbor's right-of-way to the extent that it's the neighbor's right-of-way. So during peak hours, the Blue Palm staff's a parking attendant. So, when the right-of-way spots that are directly in front of Blue Palm fill up, they'll direct them to park on site behind the front door. The front door for the Blue Palm faces north. So when you come to the Blue Palm, you'd prefer to park in the right-of-way because it's closest to the front door. Once those spots fill up, the patrons park on site behind the building. And then now, once those spots fill up, we have the ability to direct them to Parkside Diner. There are nearly 70 public parking spaces within walking distance, but it is a great benefit to be able to direct them to Parkside Diner. And we also, if the town's okay with it, obviously we can't, put up signage that would implicate that the right-of-way spots are specifically for Blue Palm, but we would like to put up some sort of sign, directing patrons that once the right-of-way spots are full, that there's additional parking in the rear, additional parking at Parkside, and then also instructing them with some sort of brief message that, please do not park in front of houses on Mary Knoll, or something to that effect that would deter, patrons from parking in front of the houses. Another point that the resident brought up was in regards to the trash pickup. So when we started this application, there was, we have a dumpster enclosure right now. There's a dumpster inside the enclosure, and there was another dumpster that was outside of the enclosure. And both of those were being picked up once a week. Since that, and then working with the planning board, we have removed the dumpster that was outside of the enclosure, which I think was a great benefit because dumpsters should be enclosed. And now the dumpster that is inside the enclosure is being picked up twice a week. So we cleaned up that area, and we're also picking up the trash more frequently, which would also, mitigate against the potential for odors or rodents or, any other nuisances there. So I think we're all up to speed now. If this board has any questions about one more thing, actually. The planning board did review the factors again at the last meeting and issue a favorable recommendation to this board. So if this board has any other questions.
So can I just see the letter from Parkside?
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
Just one thing to clarify, sir. So just in very easy layman speak, you have a maximum occupancy your client does for their structure, for their building, correct?
Yes, 75.
And that's not going to change.
Right.
All this is changing is how many people may sit and how many people may stand.
Right. It's just how many chairs we can put out.
Okay.
Right
I just
now
want it to be super, super easy.
Absolutely. Right now we have seating for 30, so,
Okay.
we're allowed, we could have 30 people sitting down and then 30 people standing like this, waiting for a table.
Correct.
It just allows us to get
To
them
serve
in and
more
out
people.
faster.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I do have a copy of that with me.
Does anybody have any other questions for Sal?
Yeah, Sal, as far as the, obviously, some parking on site's a premium, right? Employees, does he have them park get off site, or does he direct, because they're gonna take up, I don't know how many employees they have though.
Right.
Are they going to Parkside, or?
Yeah, they're
Okay.
going to Parkside.
And I haven't seen the agreement, but he's allowed all the parking spots at Parkside to be used?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't say this on the agreement right now. We could park anywhere over there, but he did say like, try to keep them away from the mini golf.
Yes, his hope is that the workers, employees park behind the Parkside, leave spots for Whispering Pines, opening up spots over at Blue Palm instead of having all the employees park in the right-of-way and the back parking lot, park behind Parkside.
Right.
Right.
And then, so right in front of the front door of Blue Palm, there's 8 marked spots. There's room for another 8 cars in the gravel lot. And then there's across from Mary Knoll, contiguous to a commercial plaza, so it's not right-of-way parking in front of houses. There's an additional 10 spots, I think. So there's, 26 plus the 19 in the back. There's, 35 parking spaces before we even need the Parkside parking. And some of the parking in the back might be used by the, like the smoke shop next door, so.
Okay.
But.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right, we do have Kate from Labella here. Kate, we want to make sure that a big question was process. Make sure we're in the right order with planning board, zoning board. Do you want to just mention that real quick, that we are?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Kate Powers, Labella Associates. So as you all know, a bar restaurant with 30 or more seating requires a special use permit issued by the town board. You all referred that application to the planning board. They had reviewed that, and then you had re-referred it to them for some more substantive comments. They responded with a resolution. Is this better? Okay. Okay, I'll start over. So, as you all know, there's a special use permit before you all for a bar restaurant with 30 or more seating in a C district. It requires a special use permit granted by the town board. And you all refer that to the planning board for their review.
We did this on purpose to you tonight.
Oh, yeah, Kate, just keep talking.
Yeah.
Take 3, okay. Special use permit, bar restaurant, 30 or more seats in a C district to be reviewed by the town board. It was referred to planning board twice. They went through all these suggested criteria provided by legal counsel. They put their recommendation into a resolution, which should be part of your packet. They issued a positive referral for the special use permit. They also went, as was mentioned by the applicant's representative, they went to the zoning board of appeals for a parking variance. On site, they did not meet their parking requirement. They went before the board, pled their case, and the zoning board felt that it was appropriate to grant them that parking variance, and the number of spots on site were appropriate. From there, it is back to you all to determine if this is an appropriate use or not. As you all know, for each district, there's a list of permitted uses. There is an assumption that all of those uses are compatible in that zoning district. On the flip side, there are prohibited uses, and there's an assumption that those uses are not compatible in the district. When you're looking at a special use permit, this is on a case-by-case basis. So it's a use that may be compatible, maybe it's not compatible. You look at this use specifically, this site specifically, et cetera. So it's before you now. And nearing the last step for the applicant, this will go to the planning board for site plan review. Once that is signed off on, then they should not have a problem. Once they meet any conditions of the site plan review, then there should be no problem for the applicant moving forward with their business.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Kate?
Not a question, but can I just clarify one more thing? And so, Kate, not all along this journey, but many stops along this journey, the public has had an opportunity to come and provide public input at public hearings, correct?
Yes. So the Zoning Board of Appeals was a public hearing, and the Planning Board hearing also allowed for public input.
Perfect, thank you.
So in the land of Facebook, you get a lot of misinformation, you get anger, and you get everything else. So a couple things that everybody needs to be aware of is that there is no opportunity to close down Blue Palm. So when we hear complaints from neighbors that the bar is, not good for the neighborhood, it's not good for that, it's a permitted use, it's there. There's nothing that we decide tonight that would close Blue Palm. It's there. And I think it's a little bit misleading when you say, the change of the intensity. There's going to be, I assume on a good night in there, there's going to be 75 people in there, whether there's 60 seats or 30 seats, right? So the intensity's not technically changing in this instance. It's just a matter of whether or not some people are sitting or standing. And I think we can argue all day long about what's better for the business, whether you want people standing and drinking more than they're eating, or if you want people eating, but that's not for us to consider in this, right? So I personally wouldn't want, everybody eating, because booze brings in a lot more money. So, but that's just me, but that's not in consideration for us. And in favoritism, and people that were in favor of this too, why are they trying to close down the Palm Grill? That was never an option here. This is all determines about how many people can actually sit inside the restaurant. Still only allowed 75 people total in that restaurant. whether or not they push the tables over to the side and have everybody standing, or they have everybody sitting at 68 seats or whatever they're asking for. So I just wanted to clarify that, because a lot of the complaints were about the bar itself, and the bar is there. It's, you know, whether we vote yes or no tonight, the bar is going to be there tomorrow. And, you know, you can debate whether or not living next to a bar is favorable or a negative. I would assume they could find somebody that wouldn't mind walking next door to a bar every night, and then got somebody that does not want it anywhere near them. So I just wanted to clear that up. Anybody else have anything to say or questions for Kate or anyone else? For Sal? All right, with that, I will take a motion to close the public hearing.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, this hearing is now closed. We'll move on for vote. Madam Clerk?
Resolution 1, granting a special use permit for 4348 Culver Road in the C Business District.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, last chance. Anybody on the board wish to speak or
I
make
just
comment?
want to make a little comment. I think I was glad to see that the Parkside did allow some more parking. That made a big difference as well, too. And it's going to remain to be seen if they're going to be a good neighbor. And I assume they were going to be a good neighbor, to take things into consideration if they do get any complaints in the future. Just be a good neighbor down there and take things, you know, work with the neighbors if there are some complaints. And you said there's going to be a parking attendant, hopefully to direct people, or whoever will be there to direct people, so.
Yeah, like Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
During peak hours.
Okay, very good.
They're not usually that busy.
Yeah. Okay,
I would like to say also, they feel like the applicant and the applicant's representative, I mean, they did the extra effort to go to neighboring businesses to get cooperative agreements amongst the neighbors there. And, you know, I think that's a nice business network over there. For them to, you know, work this out amongst themselves is, you know, commendable and appreciative.
I agree, Peter. I wish that more of those who come before us will work with neighboring business owners to try to solve some of the problems, so that we can continue to have profitable businesses in our community.
Yeah, so, yeah, thank you to Blue Palm for actually going through the process and doing all the applications. It's a tedious process. Some in town don't want to do it, and Blue Palm chose to do it. Other businesses, stepped up. Every business is valuable here in town. There's no business that's more valuable than the other, and any way that someone can help to make those successful, I think we all benefit for. So hopefully, Blue Palm and the neighborhood can come together and find a solution to some of the disagreements that arise, and cutting down on the number of incidents would go a long way to help Blue Palm with their neighbors. So in return, hopefully the neighbors down there are supportive, and if Blue Palm's doing well, then I hope they recognize that as well. So with that, we'll take it to vote. And so all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution
Mr.
has...
Supervisor, can
Yep.
we have a roll call, please?
We sure can. Yep, we will start to the right of me. Mr. Councilmember Weiner.
Aye.
Okay, Supervisor Fitzpatrick is an aye. Deputy Supervisor Perticone.
Aye.
Councilmember Romeo.
Aye.
Councilmember Freeman.
Aye.
Okay, this resolution has been adopted. We will now move on to meeting minutes.
Approval of minutes, July 11, 2023, the workshop meeting.
Okay, motion to accept.
Moved?
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions or comments on the minutes?
No.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, these minutes have been adopted. Next set of minutes.
July 18, 2023, the regular town board meeting.
Okay, motion to
Moved?
Okay, we've already moved it. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, any questions regarding these minutes? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, these meetings, okay. These minutes have been approved. Ask Madam Clerk just to make note of record that Councilmember Freeman is no longer able to join us for the rest of the meeting. Okay, with that, we'll move on to items for board action. Madam Clerk?
Okay, item number 2, authorizing the appointment of an assessment clerk.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Linda?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This first resolution is to appoint Joan Woodruff as an assessment clerk. Joan has worked in the assessor's office since 2020 as an office clerk 4 and has taken the Monroe County Civil Service exam for assessment clerk. She's ranked number 1 on the certified list. She's been performing many of the duties of an assessment clerk, and Amy would like to promote Joan to this title.
Okay, thank you. Amy, would you like to add anything?
I would. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. So as Linda said, Joan did start working here in 2020. She came to us from the restaurant industry. Since then, she has grown to be a really important part of the team. She provides great customer service. She has learned all the new skills that we have asked her to learn efficiently, and she's a great researcher. We call her Investigator Joan when we need a problem solved. We put her to the task, and she usually comes up with a solution or the answer. And I'm pleased to promote her to assessment clerk, and I hope you'll approve it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Linda or for Amy?
Just a comment, number 1 doesn't surprise me with Joan back there. She really does do a good job, Amy. Number 1 doesn't surprise me at all, so congratulations to Joan.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution has been adopted. Joan is not here, but congratulations to her, and look forward to her continuing her work in the assessment office. Next item?
Item number 3, authorizing the appointment of a provisional dispatcher.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Linda?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This next resolution is to appoint a provisional dispatcher. Due to a promotion, there is a vacancy in that department. There's no civil service list available, so we posted the position, and the interview committee, consisting of Tom Albert, Matt Smith, and Andrew Foley, selected Robert Losi. He will need to participate in the civil service exam when it's held and must score within the top 3.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Albert, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Tonight, we bring in Robert Losi, who is a lifetime member here in the town of Irondequoit, where he raised his family. Robert comes to us with over 20 years' experience of dispatching and administrative services that he's done throughout his years and his careers. Mr. Losi is also a volunteer firefighter with the Ridge Culver Fire Department, and also currently a volunteer fire association member with the Ridge Culver Fire Department. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions for either one of our presenters? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution has been adopted. We do have Mr. Losi in presence tonight. If you'd like to stand up, if a round of applause, and welcome to the town of Irondequoit. Thank you very much. This resolution, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
You're all right.
Item number 4, authorizing the appointment of a provisional fire marshal.
Okay, thank you. Motion to accept?
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Linda?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution is to appoint a provisional fire marshal to fill the vacancy in that department. The civil service list is not viable, so we're not going to use it. This position has been posted for several months, and the interview committee, consisting of Mary Werner and Greg Merrick, have recommended we hire William Lang Jr. as our new fire marshal. He will also have to take the fire marshal exam, which will be held on October 21st, 2023, and must score within the top 3.
Okay, thank you. Does any of the board have any questions or comments? Okay, I think this is an important position. We need a strong person in this, and I think we have that opportunity now, and that's great to see. So I'm looking forward to this. It's a good addition to our community development office. So all those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution has been adopted. Please welcome and stand up for recognition, and we will give you a round of applause. Thank you. See you tomorrow morning. All right, next item.
Item number 5, authorizing payment for 2022 playground space fees.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Madam Comptroller.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution will authorize a payment to the West Irondequoit School District for the building usage for the 2022 summer playground program. Prior to 2022, these fees were offset by paving work done by the Department of Public Works. It is not ideal to mix funds between departments, and this is also part of the town's transparency to make this visible.
Okay, thank you. This came as a surprise to many of us here when we met with West Irondequoit. It was not in our budget, and it was not known to our rec department that we actually paid fees for our summer camps to West Irondequoit. So this will be in our budget for 2024, and again, brings transparency to where our money is coming in and out of. That change is being made in 2024 budget. Anybody have any questions or comments?
I just want to say thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Comptroller, for doing that, for making things more transparent, and for helping us help residents understand where their money goes.
Absolutely.
Very important.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution has been adopted. Next item.
Item number 6, authorizing the annual audit of the town courts.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Madam Comptroller.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This is an annual audit, or an annual resolution to accept the court audit. This resolution would accept the 2022 court audit, which was performed by the Bonadeo Group. This is required by the New York State Office of Court Administration.
Okay, anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. This resolution has been adopted. Next item.
Item number 7, authorizing transfer of funds from budget account conference training to the account capital expense account.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Sally?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. We are simply asking the town board to allow us to transfer some money from our conference training into the capital expense account to pay for an unexpected cost with our JCAP project in the amount of $750.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution has been adopted. Next item.
Item number 8, authorizing the town's bereavement policy for non-represented employees.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Linda?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution is for a change in one of our personnel policies for our non-represented employees, specifically our bereavement policy. The Director of Personnel, Jason Vanette, has been working on updating some of these policies, and this change is to implement a more comprehensive and compassionate leave policy, broadening the scope of who is covered and increasing the amount of time off granted.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Are we sure no one's got any questions for Linda back there? I know she wants to answer something tonight.
She died.
Jason's absence, no? All right. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution has been adopted. Next item.
Item number 9, adopting a leave donation policy.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Linda, last one.
Thank you, Mr. Mr. Supervisor. This resolution is to formalize a new policy regarding sick leave donation consistent with past practice and IRS rules. There have been long-standing informal agreements with each collective bargaining unit to arrange for donation of paid sick leave during our coworkers' unforeseen medical emergencies. This resolution would formalize this policy, and its purpose is to support our colleagues during challenging times. Jason took into consideration the IRS rules and regarding medical emergencies, so the person donating the sick time does not have to pay taxes on this donation. He also implemented the creation of an emergency leave pool, which is a new concept here. Employees do not donate time to a specific person, but instead contribute to an emergency leave pool that will be used by employees that meet the criteria noted in the policy.
Okay, thank you. And this was discovered that some departments had this, some unions had it, but it was not a town-wide policy. So we're putting it as a town-wide policy to be fair. It also helps employees help others in need. I believe it's, one of the many things here that we're trying to fix and get under proper documentation, I guess is the best way to say that, right? All right. Anybody else have anything? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. This resolution has been adopted. Next item.
Item number 10, authorizing attendance to Pepperball Instructor Armorer Certification.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Move.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Chief.
Yes, this is to send two of my officers to the Pepperball certification. We have approximately 5 Pepperball launchers right now. It kind of gives us a long-range impact tool to be able to use as far as a non-lethal tool, and gives us a lot more chance to use non-lethal force. So just send a couple of our guys to be armors, and so that we can bring the training back to the whole department.
Okay, so if I'm hearing that correctly, we do have Pepperball stuff now, we're just not trained on them?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Our certification is, they kind of went by the wayside, and I would like to change it. Kind of gives us a long-range impact instrument.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Anybody have any questions or comments for Chief? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution has been adopted. Next item.
Item number 11, authorizing acceptance of New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services grant for fiscal year 2022.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Chief.
Correct. This is just a continuation of the adoption of our Stone Garden grant funds that we've been receiving for many years. This is just to accept the little over $8,000 grant monies for the 2022 year.
Okay, does anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution has been adopted. Next item.
Item number 12, accepting a grant for 2 new police bicycles.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Chief.
Yes, we we were fortuitous enough to have somebody want to anonymously donate $3,500 to our department to buy 2 brand new police patrol bicycles. So our old ones are in a bit of a disarray, so it'll be a kind of chance to get the officers out there and actually get them back in the neighborhoods. Great community tool. Plus, it also allows the officers to get to a lot of different spaces that they can't normally get with a patrol car or on foot.
Okay, thank you. So I think these help us with our community engagement. I meant to mention in my comments in the beginning, we just wrapped up last week our return of our teen academy, and to say it was a success is understating it. We had a great group of kids. The parents were absolutely thrilled with the program. We had kids from several different schools in the area, and there was a couple parents that were in near tears at the end of it for what transpired. So congratulations to our police. I know we had people stopping over at the department all week looking to register for the next camp. So kudos to our police department as we continue to get out in the community and close any gaps that might exist. So, sorry, that's a little bit off topic, but not totally. I think these will help us as well to be a little bit more personal with our residents. So, anyone else have any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution has been adopted. Next item.
Item number 13, declaring surplus items, authorizing the sale of said items, and appropriating funds.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Chief?
Yes, this is for actually selling surplus ammunition to the town of Camillus, right outside of Syracuse. A few years ago, when Greece PD transitioned over from their old service weapons, we had a surplus. They had a surplus of 45 caliber ammunition, which we carry. At that time, during the War of Terror, it was very hard to get ammunition, so we were able to buy it at their cost and just transfer it over. We are anticipating actually transitioning to a new handgun, so we will not be able to use all of that ammunition that we have in stores. So we will be selling it to the town of Camillus at the same price that we got it. So it's a zero-sum gain.
Okay, anyone have any questions or comments? No. Okay, the Camillus Wildcats. Those are a long-time Irondequoit nemesis in lacrosse, so maybe we should ask them if we wanted to do this process. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution has been adopted. Next item.
Item number 14, amending Chapter 93 of the Town Code of Irondequoit regarding bow hunt regulations.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Chief?
Again, taking a look at our bow hunt program, trying to make some positive changes and trying to actually keep up with the time. So we're going to be making each participant have basically a list of rules that they have to follow and actually send it out to them, signed electronically. Also going to making sure that they put up their stands. I think they were talking about 30 days before and after of the hunting program when it starts and finishes. So I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so as our speaker said earlier, this has not been adjusted for 5 years. We listened to residents. We took in changes. We made several changes that they requested. I think we have a much more transparent policy now. There'll be some stuff on our website that the residents can see. Our code of conduct is available. So we've made some strides, and we'll continue to evaluate it. But, I feel, we did not answer all the neighborhood questions of one neighborhood or concerns in this adopt, but we have made steps, and that's a good thing. So we'll continue to evaluate the program from year to year, as was promised 5 years ago. So does anybody have any questions or comments regarding these? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution has been adopted. Next item.
Item number 15, reallocating funding from 2020 Stone Garden Grant and authorizing the purchase of 2 all-terrain vehicles.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Chief Peters?
Yes, this is actually a chance for us to use some monies that are going to be going away here very quickly. We used to use those monies to run details up at the Irondequoit Bay State Park. Seeing as how that has been taken over by New York State, we had monies that we would not be able to use. There was just too much money. So we tried to do a grant modification. It was kind of pie in the sky, but we had the skies opened up and the sun shined on us, and we were able to get that grant modification done quickly, unheard of. And obviously, this is money that, the Stone Gutter grant that comes through Monroe County. So we had enough money to actually cover the full cost of 2 brand-new ATVs to replace our 20-year-old ATVs. And we were able to get it done, but obviously it was something quick, so it's last minute. I apologize about that, but it's basically being able to replace our vehicles with no cost to the taxpayers of the town, I think is a win-win.
This is a use it or lose it situation, correct?
Correct,
And
yeah.
a limited situation too. We can't just use that money for anything.
Right, correct. And this is the Monroe County Sheriff's Office and other departments have also used their monies to buy the similar equipment, ATVs, snowmobiles. So these, there's nothing out of line here. It's also, these monies have to be used by August 31st or else we lose it. So I don't want to take the chance of losing $20,000.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments for Chief?
Quick comment.
Yeah.
I think this is awesome, Chief, and I would say to you in a very short time, in an area where the land meets the sea and the topography is very challenging, we now have 2 new razors, which can also be incredible snow vehicles, I understand. We're getting bicycles, ATVs, and new motorcycles. That goes a long way in community relations. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have anything for Chief? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution has been adopted. Next item.
Item number 16, authorizing the supervisor to enter into various contracts with vendors for youth, family, adult, group exercise, and senior recreational programming for fall 2023.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Director of Recreation, Shannon?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution allows us to move into contract with various instructors for our fall program cycle at the community center, programming for youth, adults, and seniors, and this is primarily for our group exercise, martial arts, and dance instruction this fall.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments for Shannon? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution has been adopted. Next item.
Item number 17, approving request by Swan's Market for Farmers Market Oktoberfest event.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Director of Recreation, Shannon?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution will allow us to move forward in partnership with Swan's Market, who will be providing the responsibility and oversight of alcohol sales for our upcoming Oktoberfest-themed farmers market on September 7th.
Okay, any questions or comments for Shannon? Okay, we did this last year. It was a huge success. Looking forward to when it's behind us here in our new facilities and possibly bring back a smaller version of the very popular the Oktoberfest, but smaller, but still celebrating. So, anybody else? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution has been adopted. Next item.
Item number 18, approving the special event license for the Rochester Triathlon 2023 New York State Championship.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This is an event that has been held many times. It's very popular. It's going to be held on Saturday, August 26th from 4 a.m. to 2 p.m. And the members are contacting the affected persons, and I have all the approvals in.
So they've been doing this for years. This year just is a state championship level race. All right, well, I see them practicing all the time down there, and if you're around on that date, I suggest you go and watch. It's a pretty fun event to take in. Amy Your dad's not doing it anymore, I'm sure, right? He was a big triathloner back in the day before it was cool, so. But yeah, a special, pretty cool event, and cool that it comes through our town, so. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution has been adopted.
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes.
will you be there to kick it off?
Yeah, I would, 10 years ago, I would participate in it, but, yeah, and they start early, so I might miss, I might miss the swim and half the bike ride, but I will get over to the end of my street to take in some of the bike and run, so. Yes, as I sit on the beach on a Sunday morning and watch, I'm quite jealous that I'm not able to do it, and at the same time, pretty glad that I'm not out there doing it, so. All right, next item?
Item number 19, approving the special event license for the Point Pleasant Firemen's Association Sportsman Raffle Number 30.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
Okay. This is an event that we have held often. The Point Pleasant puts on this raffle. Asked last week, I didn't have the proper answer. But I have spoken to the people at Point Pleasant. They give out gift cards, and the gift cards go to a sport store where they can use it. They can't turn it in for cash, but those were the question that
prizes,
was asked last week. So that's where what they raffle off. And this also has been held, it's very popular. It's going to be held this year on Saturday, September 23rd at Point Pleasant Firehouse at 55 Ewart Avenue from noon to 5 p.m.
Okay, great. Sounds like a great event and a good group to support here in town. So, anybody have any questions or comments? Everyone's questions were answered from last week. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution has been adopted. Next item.
Item number 20, approving the special event license for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's annual ride for missing children.
Okay, motion to adopt.
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
Okay. So this is also an event that we have done several years in a row. It's going to be held on Friday, September 15th. And it was postponed from June. They were going to do this. And now it's going to be held in September. And it's a wonderful event to help raise funds and make awareness of this problem.
Okay, thank you. I've seen this come through town. It's pretty cool to watch come through. So, anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed say nay. Okay, this resolution has been adopted. This concludes our regular town board meeting of August 15th. Our next meeting is a workshop meeting on September 12th, 2023, 4 p.m. here in the Broderick Room. And our next town board meeting is September 19th, 2023, at 7 p.m. here in the Broderick Room. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, this meeting is now adjourned.